completely hate it.
Good evening, hello, and welcome to the next exciting instalment of Franchise Wars. You can see the month is clearly engaged for this one. It's time for some X-Men. So we've had a bit of a break from superheroes, but now we're back, and now it's time to talk about how it all kicked off in the Fox universe. So let's talk about the series that had lots of potential. It's X-Men, so we're going to go with X-Men. We're going to go with X2, X-Men 2, and then X-Men The Last Stand. And you can see already the familiar theme. They try to put a particular person front and centre. And that gives you, for me, that gives you a flavour of where it went wrong. They were in the popular Blu-ray format. Martin, you seem to have yours in the popular DVD format.
After a gift from Mother, thank you very much.
Quickly,
Merry Christmas to me.
I'm going to quickly sum up the first movie for you, ready? God, that was fucking boring. I mean, the thing is, right, if it wasn't for the X-Men movies, we probably wouldn't be in the state that we are now. We would never have had Sony doing Spider-Man the way it was made, right? So we've got that to thank for it. But this was the first superhero team-up on screen, and it looks and feels like a fucking TV movie. You can just tell that they didn't throw the budget at it they could have done, and they were too scared to stick directly to the source material and tried to keep it human as opposed to comic book fantasy.
There is a lot of God Loves Man Kills, the graphic novel in there, though. I own that. There is a lot of that sort of style in there. It's very much done the adult, the normalised, that sort of version.
I'll tell you what it was like. It was like someone had took Neighbours and EastEnders, yeah, and put them together, get a bit of a mix, and give them a few superpowers. It was a bit soap opera in places as well, and maybe that's what the source material's like. But it was a missed opportunity, and that it could have been a big wow when it wasn't, which was a shame. And that's all I can say. I'm just bored to tears when I watch it, and looking back at it now, you can just tell they still don't know what the fuck to do with X-Men. Thank fuck Fox have gone. Because fucking 12 movies, and it's still a fucking atrocious mess.
I don't know about half of them they hit the beat, and then half of them just messed away with it. Continuity, schmontinuity, as someone's fond of saying.
I've got no problem with continuity, schmontinuity, but like it's boring. It really is fucking boring. And you've got superheroes going to fight each other, and they don't really, do they? I mean,
well, you get a bit at the end, but really,
yeah, but it's not even great.
They could have been a whole lot more. It is number one. That's why it always loses out for me is the sheer boredom factor, and I know that it actually goes close to the original material. God Loves Man Kills. I own that. I own that graphic novel in a couple of formats, but it's still not my favorite. That's not what I enjoy X-Men for, and I've enjoyed X-Men for a bloody long time. That's what I enjoyed X-Men for. 2 and 3 actually up the ante action wise. 2 is one of the most wonderfuls, but number 1, when it comes in, as you say, it's slow, it's drawn out. It has some nice moments. I like the Wolverine cage fighting stuff, the demonstrating the adamantium skeleton. Just popping his head down to defeat the other chap and break his fist. There's lots of things that I do like. It's not my favourite Rogue. It's not my favourite style of Rogue. I want they're real Southern girl Rogue, but full of power. And this isn't that Rogue. She's interesting, and they adopted it for, I think, the Evolution cartoon, where she's very much just the girl who touches them and gets the powers rather than ever touches someone that keeps the power.
It has one big redeeming feature for me.
Hugh Jackman?
No. One big redeeming feature, and they could have made the mistake of making it X-Men the origin movie, and they didn't. Thank fuck. We didn't have a long drawn out origin story and then just have them become the X-Men at the end. That sort of does happen, but at least they're already mutants. At least there's already powers. At least there's already.
You were worried it was going to turn into heroes.
Yeah, we straight into it. We didn't have a fucking 2 hours of self fucking discovery and then a little bit of la 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 at the end. It did have that. It did have that.
La 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 la.
How's that go?
La 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 la. Right. Okay. Okay. It's got some real positives. Half of the cast I love. Right. Hugh Jackman is a wonderful casting as Wolverine. Let's get straight off the bat.
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick,
yeah.
Can I just stop you there? I'm going to stop.
No. Let me.
Wolverine is a perfect casting as Wolverine. As time goes on, I don't think in this first movie he's anything special.
Well, hang on. Bear with me.
He's really good. He could have been shorter and stockier. He should have been shorter and stockier.
Yeah. My issue with Wolverine and what rankles me, and I know I'm in a minority, was the love affair with Wolverine it went way overboard, and it was overkill. So beyond this, and we'll do more when we do Wolverine next week, is that it was like, oh God, all right, he's moody, he's got adamantium. There are other heroes in it. Okay, so casting, Hugh Jackman, brilliant. Patrick Stewart as Charles Xavier, magnificent. He's brilliant. Yeah.
And McKellen.
Ian McKellen, Magneto, brilliant. Right? Those are the real positives. Potential could have been good. I quite like Famke Janssen, whatever you call her.
Yeah.
As Jean Grey. I just think
Talia on the top.
I just think Jean Grey. I just think they got Jean Grey wrong. She didn't do anything for me. Martin, you're spot on. Rogue, dull as dishwater. She reminded me of something from Heroes. You want to switch it off.
She's a great actress. She is a great actress. There's no denying. But the character that they wrote there, I don't know. It got elements of Rogue that I always love. The not being able to be touched and the sort of the torture that comes to her for that is like fantastic. But I would have liked to have had maybe, really a full-powered comic book sort of Rogue where she is really powered.
And then I hate Mystique. I mean, in the reboots, she is a lot better. Mystique is dreadful.
A lot better, but in it way too much. And the whole of being in the X-Men, they all changed it. There's a lot of things that got changed in the comic books because of the films and the way that they led them at times.
So you're right. What they did, and we'll talk about the reboots in a couple of weeks, but what they did with the reboots, because Jennifer Lawrence was more famous, she became the focal point.
She got signed as pretty much a no one.
Yeah.
And then just
was massive.
That first class film.
So hang on. So they Wolverined her. My biggest issue with this is I absolutely hate Halle Berry. She's an appalling storm.
She is beautiful, though. I mean,
she's awful.
And
because she was one of the famous ones, she's
my
dreadful.
favourite is when she changes her accent.
Oh. Yeah, she does an Elizabeth Olsen.
Starts off with the African accent. And
the biggest problem you've got with Halle
goes.
Berry is storming this. You can tell she didn't really want to fucking be there.
It was a phone-it-in performance.
It was a phone-it-in performance by far. And McKellen is not given enough due in all of these X-Men movies.
Ironically.
Because this is going to sound really sad and pathetic. But when he's doing the Magneto role all the way through these movies, he's putting in Oscar-worthy performances. He's fucking nailing the character. Doesn't matter how you look at it. He doesn't phone it in, and he's the only character only actor who plays the character, and the only actor who plays his character, and he really fucking puts his heart into it, and you can tell. Everybody else.
And Hugh Jackman.
No, that's not Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman was at that point in his career where he gave everything to everything.
No,
it's tough to Hugh Jackman give a performance where he doesn't throw his all in, but these especially because they were the start of his career.
Yeah, This was his big break, and
Yeah, this is what made him.
I think what happened is I think what happened is through the films we got oversaturated with Wolverine. But we'll talk about that later. And you know, Bryan Singer in the first one, it's a good job, but I have to say, looking back and watching them again, Jesus, they haven't aged well. This first one, it is. You know, look at what back then it was great. Look at what we've got now, and you go,
no, it wasn't great then either.
I thought the first one was good. Yeah, there were some boring bits on it.
I can still enjoy the first one, but I'm kind of with Mark in that it's when you look at it now versus other films and everything. Yeah. Good God, it's tedious.
Yeah,
slow and tedious.
And the climatic battle on the top of the fucking Statue of Liberty. And it's like they've done it in the fucking back garden. There's no sense of depth or anything to it. It just really looks like it's in a studio. It's awful the way it looks. And Toad is fucking pathetic. This was like, oh, Jesus.
Well, you know what happens to a toad when he gets struck by lightning?
Oh, fuck me.
That happens to everything else.
And Sabretooth looks the part, but fucking...
Oh, really does?
Yeah, I do like Sabretooth.
I can't remember who it is now.
But I don't know. There's just something that this film, it just had so much potential. And there was only McKellen for me that was really like doing it. But it just shows there wasn't enough faith from the studio to throw enough at it to do better.
I love McKellen. I love Patrick Stewart, and Hugh Jackman. He's great. What rankled with me was this loving with the Wolverine, and it just like, oh, another Wolverine film. And we'll talk about Wolverine next week because my goodness me, oh God. Anyway,
can I just I just got to add something here. Is don't forget, if the only reason we have this film is because of the spectacular wonderfulness that Batman and Robin was in 90s.
Anyway, so Martin, I'm just going to mute Mark.
No, what I'll say, you were going in off the 1990s where really everything had used, all the comics, they used everything. They'd used Wolverine in everything, every X title possible. It had gone from X-Men to New Mutants to X-Force, just whatever they could get in there. Excalibur, everything was an X title. They were just the ecstatics. They were throwing everything they could to get another X title, X-Men Blue, X-Men Gold, you know, as many as they could possibly get in there because they knew that was what sold. And Wolverine became absolutely huge. I mean, the Wolverine and the X-Men animated series is actually one of my favourite.
I was going to say that. That's the really fucking disappointing thing about this movie. Is because for 4 years before that, we'd had the Uncanny X-Men cartoon series in the 90s, right? And it was fucking great. I mean, the animated take on Days of Future Past is far better than the fucking movie.
The Dark Phoenix saga that they do in those cartoons has never been touched in the movies. You're
thinking, fuck me, yes, they're going to make a movie of what they've just been doing on the cartoon, and they couldn't even do that.
Yes, a bit like Transformers, Mark. Thank you very much for recognising that does happen, that they get good source material, a cartoon, and royally balls it up. Well done. If you'd like to revisit our Transformers arguments, they're available on previous videos.
Yeah, but the Transformers fucking looked a lot better than the fucking X-Men did in this first movie.
No, it didn't. At least... I might not like them, but at least
they went on, they looked worse and worse on the Transformers.
This first movie is like a TV pilot. It's like a fucking
TV with X-Men, though, this all happened because of the 90s, the X titles just became the biggest thing possible. Marvel was going broke. They had to sell properties just to make some cash and stay afloat instead of going bust and under at the time. So they had to give away their best shit, selling it for very little. And so they push Wolverine all the time, much as in the newer stuff, they push Mystique all the time. Yeah. But the first film it still wasn't that bad, although it was slow and ponderous and everything. That was Bryan Singer's vision. That's Bryan Singer as a filmmaker, pretty much, you know, really at times. It's how he can be. He tells a story in a roundabout way. And it can work at times. And X-Men just needed speeding up more. They went far more for the slower burn, and I wish you'd had a bit more action in there in the first one, a bit more something going on. But X-Men's always been about the sort of the lives of the people, the lives of the mutants in there. That's where Chris Claremont came in and just changed everything around. It went from a sort of villain of the week sort of storytelling to these really focusing on the lives of the characters there. As soon as he brought in Kitty Pryde, and he just brings in someone to focus on, then just latch around it. It worked wonderfully, and that's what they tried to do here with the Rogue coming in, as she was sort of the Kitty Pryde replacement in that. Yeah. They wanted the young girl and the Wolverine sort of like their relationship together, and it can work at times, and it's kind of wonderful at times, but it's when you moved on to the number 2, that was where it all slotted into place. I mean, let's face it, that opening set of scenes in the White House with Nightcrawler, Kurt Wagner, the spectacular music circus.
This is the issue I've got with X-Men 2, right? And you've just hit the nail on the head. Everybody talks about X-Men 2, and the first thing they say is, that opening sequence with Nightcrawler is fucking amazing. Yes, it is.
Watched it, it is.
And X-Men 2 is the equivalent of getting off with somebody, going home, getting in bed with them, slipping the dick in, pushing the tip in, right? Getting it going.
Just the tip, love.
Goes all nice and wet, and you're going, this is going to be fucking brilliant. And then she pushes you off and says, fuck off. What fucking with this film? You get so excited and drawn in that.
You're saying X2 is a cock tease?
Yeah, it is. That fucking Nightcrawler.
I think X2 will at least get you to come. Definitely.
Of a movie ever.
She's not just a tease. She's taking it, and she's taking it unbagged. She's going to swallow that or take it up the chuff, whatever you like.
And what does she do?
X2 is a go all the way, girl.
And what does she do? And she makes you fucking pull out and go home, and that's what happens with this fucking.
No. X2 lets you comfortably come in. X2 is a very open-minded girl.
I just want to make it clear, this one clearly isn't for kids.
There's no ejaculate at all in X2. Rose-tinted glasses. Everybody thinks X2's.
It's not rose-tinted glasses. I have literally just watched this movie.
Yeah, and did you fall asleep again like you did with the
first?
first?
No, I did not.
I tell you what,
I went on, and I watched 3 after it as well, just to refresh that in my head.
Oh, poor you.
Watch the movie, put it in, and thought, fuck me, this is brilliant, they've got it right. And then nothing fucking happens after that. I'm so disappointed with X2.
No, a load happens after that.
I like X-Men 2. I think X-Men 2 is great.
Like what? Where's the big stick out scene? Where's the big thing that happens after that?
I'll rather like Lady Deathstrike versus Wolverine fighting in the adamantium Weapon X facility. That's kind of brilliant. When the place is flooding out, it's kind of brilliant. When they're torturing Stryker, when Magneto comes across Stryker and that just gets the chain around him and just pins him there. And then Wolverine comes later with the kid and decides to just leave him there. That's kind of cool. So Phoenix right at the end actually appearing where it should have. They do actually nicely sort of mention towards Phoenix and keep doing the flashes in her eye during this movie and her powers becoming bigger and better. They bollocks it in the third, but in this movie it's dealt with really, really well. I thought it was great leading towards more and more and more.
Oh, don't get me wrong. It is better, but it's such a fucking come down after that first opening sequence. It's like
no, that first opening sequence is just great. Though.
It's one of the best opening sequences of a movie ever on screen.
And who the hell would have thought Alan Cummings as Nightcrawler? I would never have guessed that in a million years. Yeah. Jesus Christ, the guy from what was it, Flying High? Yeah. And he played the Hole in Third Rock from the Sun. Just stuff that I didn't expect that guy to suddenly become Nightcrawler and to be so wonderful in it. I wish he'd come back for 3, but they couldn't agree on it or whatever. But I thought he was wonderful.
So,
is everyone alive? Yes.
I'm struggling to. So we've gone from X-Men, which was all right. I quite enjoyed it. I did enjoy X-Men 2. Although you two seem to be talking about the adult movie parody, The Sex Men.
This is not XXX Men.
Yeah. I think one of the issues I've got with it again is I quite Famke Janssen is lovely. Her Phoenix, her Jean Grey really begins to rankle on me in this one, and the sooner she died at the end, the better. She just irritates me. You've still got great performance.
Didn't it lead to a great scene though? I do think the Mystique scene when she comes in trying to seduce Wolverine in the tent, that is actually that's just a nice scene, full stop. Forget the sexy time stuff as we've gone down too much here. But it's just a funny scene. As a shape changer, they can be anyone. They can seduce anyone they like because they can look like whoever their ultimate fantasy is. And just switching between characters, it's fantastic. All of them do a really nice job there with the actors switching over, just playing the same role. It's really nicely done at times. Yes, okay, you lose your stuff with Rebecca Romijn at times in there, but she's kind of great as well. It gets worse.
She's not a great Mystique, and then again, like I've already said, it's overkilled. I think the biggest problem with X-Men 2, for me, it's a better film, the first one, much better. Then the come down happens with X-Men The Last Stand.
I think X-Men The Last Stand is fucking great. I've got no problem with it at all. The first bit of it, they get fucking Cyclops fucked off quite quick, which I thought was fucking great. Love that.
Yeah, I hate James Marsden. I hate James Marsden as Cyclops.
But I love the character of Cyclops. I wish that they'd themed him and done it right instead of really screwing him over so heavily there. He really does get screwed.
He does.
I think the reason why I enjoy Last Stand more so and don't hate it like everybody else is I've got no preconceived ideas. The Dark Phoenix story when I watched it, so I didn't know what they was getting wrong.
Oh, it ballses it up like nobody.
I know that now.
Saying that, I still don't hate it as a film. I'll watch it just now after watching 2.
I enjoy it.
I don't hate it as a film.
And it sticks in my memory more than X-Men 2 does because...
Oh, you're mental.
Fucking Vinnie Jones as Juggernaut. What a...
I'm Juggernaut, bitch.
No.
It was fucking lovely.
No, you talk about awful performances.
Your helmet, keeps my face pretty.
Yeah. That is an abomination of a performance. It is
his latex muscle suit. It's hilarious.
It is terrible. That is an awful Juggernaut.
It doesn't take itself as seriously as the first one, and the second one. It's more of it's a sort of a twisted piss take on itself, and I quite like it.
Yeah, but you like Batman and bloody Robin. No wonder you liked X-Men: The Last Stand. It's crap.
I don't think it's crap. I don't think it's a good X-Men film. I think it's not the worst way to spend a couple of hours, sort of, it is entertaining in there. There's a lot that goes on. It even has a bit of a story with the whole cure thing and all that, which the modern take of Dark Phoenix doesn't even have that. It probably places above the modern take of Dark Phoenix, but I've got to be sort of careful and rejudge later on.
The action's okay as well. I love the Magneto and the Golden Gate Bridge scene. I think that's...
I was actually going to say about that.
I've got no problem with the conclusion and the battle scene. It makes a lot more entertaining viewing. It's just... I just think the biggest...
When you look at where 2 had left it and it could have gone, that's the disappointment.
The biggest problem, like I said, the biggest problem X-Men Last Stand has got, and it gets so much hate, is because they adapted the story wrong, so it pisses all the fanboys off. If you take if like me, I watched it, I had no idea at all about what the story was and whether they got it wrong at all when I watched it.
Hold on a minute. You just said about watching, was it 4 years previously, the cartoon version of this?
No.
So you didn't have a clue about the story and everything?
No, not the Dark Phoenix story. No, I only watched bits of X-Men. I was on about what was there and the potential they had to do for the first one. I wasn't on about my own personal experience. I went into the X-Men stuff cold. I hadn't got no preconceived ideas or notions, and that's why I enjoy the Last Stand as much as I do. I've not got so much of an issue with it at all.
Well, I didn't have any preconceived ideas. I went into it cold and blind, like I did with the Marvel films. It's shit. So let's not.
Dave. You try and express yourself, mate. Just reach inside. See if you can get past that shive in here and tell us what you really think.
Let's not beat around the bush. Some of the performances on it are vomit-inducing. I mean, Vinnie Jones. My goodness me, for any reason, any money in the world is one of the worst. It makes Arnold Schwarzenegger look like Orson Welles in It is an appalling performance. You talk about phoned in, taking the mick joke. That is right up there. And my issue with X-Men Last Stand, it really was the beginning of the Wolverine loving, because everyone was like, "Oh, the best thing about it was Wolverine. Oh, we need to see more Wolverine," and it never ended. And it was like, "Oh God, are they going to finish these now?" And it was the start of that. And my God,
you've been fair though. I mean, all these X-Men films, it's ever since the very first one, it was they didn't plan for it. They planned for him. They knew he would be big because Wolverine's always been a popular character, especially as he broke in the 90s and just became all-consuming, that they wanted him in everything. They stuck him in X-Men. They stuck him in the Avengers. They stuck him in everything that they possibly could. But he'd been really, ever since that first film, they sort of thought, oh, well, he's a good actor. He seems to work in the role. And he's always been pumped that more and more and more Wolverine, more pushed to the front, more. Whereas it would have been better and fairer, really, to have like pulled back and given it that full team vibe. I mean, this is why Cyclops got sacrificed really quickly, because they wanted Wolverine to be pushed right at the scale. Just get rid of everybody else who's not so amazing on screen and give all your time that you can to Wolverine instead. Get Wolverine and Jean together. That's the romance that people want. Screw Cyclops. And he did get screwed royally.
Yep, he did.
What about the introduction of probably one of the best X-Men characters put to film, Angel? Fucking hell.
What's it? Ben Foster, great actor, fantastic guy. It's just that when he's going between CGI and model, and they just sort of do some of the shots are great, some of the shots are just hilarious.
Can you believe
when he saves his dad, when he escapes first, and he's just flying with the back, and it's obviously like a model on the street because he's just swinging on the line. It's like, oh, that's ace.
Can you believe he slips inside the Princess Bride now? That's just
yeah. Princess Bride. I thought that he was with the old redhead off. There's that 70s show and did The Orange is the New Black.
He's with the Princess Bride. He's been with her for ages.
Robin Wright.
Yeah.
Is he?
Christ, so I've got him mixed up there because I thought that he was the one who knocked up the ginger. Did one out that 70s show.
Oh, it's the Triple X-Men again. I mean, look, it's got its moments. Ian McKellen's great in it. I love Charles Xavier. I just think they're good, but I do struggle. I struggle with it, and it put me off X-Men films for ages, and just this whole. I really had to get inspired again to see comic book movies. I was like, oh, really? It's dull.
And you know what kind of fixed it when it comes along next time? First Class.
Well, yeah, and we will talk about that.
We'll not step ahead of ourselves yet.
We will talk about that in a couple of weeks' time.
These three movies, though, I found them first one surprisingly slow, and then surprisingly enjoyable, really, for 2 and 3. 3 I enjoyed more than I did at the time. I watched 3 at the time, and I hated it. I've now gone back years later to watch it again, and I didn't hate it as much.
No, I'm saying.
Okay, there are bits that are like, as a follow-on from 2, it is a letdown. It doesn't go where the story could go. It drops a lot of things that it could carry to a really great height, but it's still not shit. It's still an enjoyable couple of hours spent. Just watch it. As Mark says, the battles, the San Francisco, the Golden
There's something going on.
There.
There's something going on. The story's okay, and the pace moves along. I mean,
yeah, did you say that there's an actual story to it? That's what I don't mind, because so many other X-Men movies that they've done since, really, they've come with an idea rather than a story, and the story's gone out the window for the sake of the idea and the characters that they want to push. I mean, hello, Apocalypse, but it's still got some 2 is, it's great in anybody's books, full stop. 2's great. 2's got a story. 2's got action. 2's got great acting, characters. The look of it is fantastic. As we always say, the Nightcrawler scene at the beginning, how good does that look? The special effects, the bounce teleporting all the time through, showing really what a teleporter can do. It's kind of wonderful. And then they go on to 3, and they've got a story there. It's not the best, but they've got a story there.
Yeah.
It looks ace at times, and then you have the angel stuff, and it looks comical at times, Some of it looks great, some of it looks comical. They've got a guy who's basically like a blowfish porcupine. That's his power. Whoa, how brilliant is that? Except he kills someone by pulling them close as if he's going to whisper in their ear, then popping his little spines out. Oh, well, how brilliant it is. I'm terrified right now. I can't even sleep. Yeah, the stuff in there, though, that is great. The meetings, and when Magneto pops up, that's of the Brotherhood meeting, and he's trying to like recruit people. That's absolutely fantastic. Yeah. That really fits with the character and gives McKellen time to display some more fantastic acting. The more McKellen you can have in anything, the better, possibly. It's
absolutely.
Great.
Yeah. But let's be honest. If you was going to say, right, I'm going to watch a trilogy of superhero films, X-Men's never going to be the fucking top of the list, is it?
I'm going to MCU straight off the mark.
Yeah. And
for a trilogy, you're either going to go, well, you'll go 4 films and you'll go the Avengers movies. You'll go 3 films, you'll go Captain America, because, I mean, that's a blinding trilogy, no 2 ways about it. But you won't go to Fox for a trilogy of films. No. Fox can't do a trilogy of films. Fox do, like Star Trek, really. They throw in, every other one's great sort of thing. As I say, it's about half of them a hit, half of them a miss.
So
what pretty much on with the odds all throughout all their different movies, as we'll see coming across in the future. We started off doing these first 3 X-Men. We're going to do the Wolverine trilogies. We're going to do the next set of X-Men. We're going to do Deadpool. I suppose if anyone's seen it, New Mutants, but all the things that you can do, really.
Okay.
You know what stands out with the 3 films? Not so much the third one, because it's not so much in that, but as a general thing across the 3 of them, considering they are superheroes and they're meant to be action and fighting, there's a lot of standing, there's a lot of walking, and there's a lot of doing nothing. And I find that really, really odd. And that
going to do it in any of them. Do the X-Men.
That tone is not only in the 3 films; it's across all of the X-Men Fox movies. There's like they don't quite get there. They set out with a great idea, and then come by the 3rd act. It's like everyone's fucking fell asleep. It's time for bed. They never follow through, and that happens every single fucking movie. They set it up, it's all good and great, and it never follows through. That final act in every single one of them is just like...
Logan.
I get it. Right, we're going to have to stop.
Logan.
Yeah.
That's not set up and then not followed through. They go to the end of it there. Yeah. I don't want to go, Ed, because we'll be talking about movies that are coming up in the weeks to come. But there are a couple of movies really where they do get it right.
Okay, right. we've got to rank them. So I'm going to stop the recording. We'll have a break.
Piss.
X-Men and all that sort of stuff.
Forever.
Yes. So we'll stop it there, and we will return and we will grade them. We are back. Wakanda forever. Okay. So X-Men 2 and X-Men Last Stand, we need to rate them. So let's kick off with Munt.
2, 3, 1.
You think 3 is better than 1? You think 3 is better than 1?
Yeah.
This is my battle, actually.
It's 2, 1, 3 for me.
See, my battle is between 3 and 1 being better in this. I always had it 2, 1, 3 the same.
Yeah.
I always had it 2, 1, 3. And then the rewatch just now, 3 was less boring than 1. One's got some great things in one's got some great scenes in it and some great performances and everything. But 3's less tedious. Now 3 doesn't make as much sense and it throws away everything that's gained by 2, which is why 2 just stands head and shoulders above both of them. It's ridiculous how you can have, once again, that middle film just pops up as the greatest of the lot of them. Why the hell do they get 1 right and 2 not right?
I mean, 3 wins it. 3 wins over 1 for me.
3 and 1 as the second.
3 wins over 1 for me because at least there's something going on constantly.
It's like there's all the eye candy in 3. In fact, there's too much eye candy really in 3. You know, there's too much that they're trying to cram in there, and that's why they kill off Xavier and they kill off Cyclops, because they don't want to be bothered having to tell that story. They want to cram more in of like Wolverine and Jean Grey and try and do that, and they bollocks up the Jean Grey tale. They nail it down and they bang it like a flaming jail yard piggy. It's nasty what they do the hell to that.
But
it's painful.
Isn't X-Men
Real
Last
piggy.
Stand, isn't X-Men Last Stand more like a superhero comic book film than X-Men the first movie?
That's my problem.
That's why 3 wins over.
X-Men the first movie is a better movie. I would say if I'm looking at it, you know, straight away as a movie and everything, X-Men the first movie is a better movie. It has a harder time because it's coming in there to test the water and see what they can do. And so it does something, but it's just a bit more tedious than it should be. You know what? I think I'll have to go 2, 1, 3. I still think even though it's more boring, it's just a better movie, and it was harder to come up with, and it was hard at the time. All Marvel had that was successful was Blade a couple of years previous, and then suddenly Blade gave them the opening then to do something much more mainstream, to do something with a better budget, and it should have been a bigger budget and had more going on in it. But it was very God loves, man kills. It did something there. It made Marvel movies get taken seriously. I don't know if you'd have had the MCU without actually that first Bryan Singer X-Men movie.
We wouldn't have had Spider-Man. Sony wouldn't have put the money on the table for Spider-Man the way it was made if it wasn't for X-Men.
Yeah.
We've got,
everyone wanted their slice of the pie. Then everyone wants. Once again, I mean, a lot of that came down to Marvel going bankrupt, so having to sell off the family silver. You know, and as soon as they flogged X-Men went to Fox, Blade went to Fox, Spider-Man went to Sony. You know, those are the big numbers. I mean, you know from toys, how many Spider-Man toys does he sell compared to everybody else?
Shitload.
I think there's a Spider-Man toy sold to about 10 of every other figure.
And
you know,
hang on,
selling more than everyone.
What happened to Fantastic Four? They went to shit.
Which is another series of films that we shall have to do sometime, including the Rock.
Yeah, but I mean, Christ, that's going to be a difficult one to determine if there's anything decent. I mean, at least at least you can.
It's going to be fun to try and do your pile, right? Which is the best of the worst.
Yeah, I mean, Fantastic Four. You know, talk about vomit-inducing. But yeah, I think you're right, Mart. I think I'm glad you've had a rethink, and it's 2, 1, 3.
No, it's a genuine battle there.
3
because
is too silly.
3 looks load better.
3 is too silly. And look, I don't think they've aged particularly well. The first one in particular, I don't think has aged well at all. But
second one's not bad at
yeah,
all.
yeah.
But that, it's the anomaly. It stands head and shoulders there above them.
But 3 is just stupid. It's just silly.
But it's fun, stupid. I watched it and I didn't hate watching it, and I thought that I would because I'd always expected. I didn't like it at the time. It pissed me off royally at the time. But then I am, as we all know, the comic book kid from way back. I knew that I read these stories. You know, this was I know this. I watched the cartoon every Saturday morning. I got up early and watched that shit.
I mean, for me, you ain't going to change my mind on 2, 3, 1 for the reasons what I've said. But
no, because you'll enjoy it for those reasons.
Yeah.
But for me, I think the X-Men films are a bit shit anyway. I don't know. I think even when we go on to the next ones, like First Class, they still don't make that big fucking leap of faith with their license that they've got, which is such a shame. It still feels so real.
I don't know. In the next 4 really, because you've got sort of First Class. You've got
First Class, Days of Future Past,
Days of Future
Apocalypse,
Past.
and Dark Phoenix. Oh, a Dark Phoenix.
So you've got half of them are actually great films. 2 of those movies are absolutely fantastic. I do love them to bits. We'll talk about it properly at a later date.
We shall.
We
shall. We no sneak previews.
But on these first 3, I thought they were enjoyable. I thought it's a slow start with number 1. It's a slow start. It was lucky it didn't have a lot to compete against. But even if you put it up against Blade at the time, Blade was more exciting that first one than the X-Men was. But the X-Men's always been a tale of the people since Chris Columbus came on board. Chris Claremont. When he came on board and started scripting them, the man spent like decades there. He's just fantastic writer. And he adapted them from that villain of the week to suddenly tales about the people, the personal life, which is what standed so well in the early days.
Well, and you know what? And this is where, as much as I'm laughing and I find it funny, actually, one of the biggest problems I got, and it's a personal thing, is I was never that overly. I didn't care. It never struck me. It's a bit like, you know, Mark, you said it a month or so ago when we were looking at the Batman films, and you just went, I'm not interested. You know, it didn't grab you and go, oh wow, it's Batman, it's amazing. And I feel that way about X-Men, and you know, it doesn't grab me.
I've got to be honest, I still feel that way. I feel the same way about X-Men as I did when the first one came out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't crawl across broken glass naked to stick matches in its shit because I want to watch it that bad.
Yeah.
I'm not that bothered, and they've really got to pull something out the hat now for me to want to go. And it's only because it's the MCU that I want to go. I haven't been to the cinema to see an X-Men movie. I've been to see every MCU one.
It's those MCU movies though. They're just crack cocaine for the soul. They're fantastic.
I mean, after I saw the trailer for Dark Phoenix, you would have had to have fucking clubbed me to death, took me in bleeding to sit me down and fucking watch the thing.
Yeah.
Once again, I expected worse from that than it actually turned out.
Yeah.
It's so damn tedious at times.
So
shooting my load. I'm not going to shoot my load.
So
hold back, sir.
So I think we'll agree, and I'm going to back Mark up. Even though I disagree with the order of the films, it's just not caring, and that's really, really going to affect me next week with Wolverine, because unlike a lot of people, I really don't care. It just did nothing. I mean, the Japanese one that we're going to do, oh, God, the Wolverine. Really? Ugh. Next.
I'm not going to answer on these because it'll draw me into the arguments and I'll spoil my stuff straight away.
So
I have opinions on them all as we know.
So on that, let's say we've got 2, 1, 3. So this is where it starts. So we're going X-Men 2,
3.
X-Men
predicted
2,
order.
X-Men 2, X-Men, and then X-Men Last Stand. So there's the order for the original X-Men films. Join
I can
us next
say
week.
with pride while I'm sitting here that I haven't got the fucking things to show off in the screen because I don't want to watch them again.
So join
I
us
can
next
say
week.
with pride, I've actually got the cartoons in the living room there. I've got the original X-Men series. Once again, thanks to Monty. Happy birthday to me. And I bought the Wolverine and the X-Men full animated series, which is another corker of an animated show. In fact, X-Men's had some fantastic animated shows. The X-Men, the original 90s X-Men animated show is wonderful. The Wolverine and the X-Men full animated run, that's wonderful as well. The X-Men Evolution, that's another good show that pops up on Amazon every so often. There's some good
all on
X-Men
Disney Plus
animated
now.
stuff. What's that, bro?
It's all on Disney Plus now.
Oh, it's all been moved over to Disney Plus now.
So
I've just been and bought them like as I've wanted them, sort of thing.
So we've got an order for that, and at the end of this sort of X-Men Mutants marathon, we will have a full ranking of where they all fit. Deadpool.
Well, a battle royale ranking.
Yeah. So thank you to Munt. Thank you to Woody, and we will see you next week when we get a boatload of Wolverine. Yay! Right.
Snack.